Welcome back to another episode of Excuse My Grandma. It's Kim and my co-host,
Grandma Gail.
So Grandma and I just got back from New Orleans. We were there for my brother's college graduation.
And the Big Easy is really the Big Easy. It is so busy, Kim. I never saw so many people walking. You walked on the riverfront. I didn't, but I went into the shopping centers, and I even went into the casino, and everything is packed. I mean, it's just amazing. I think it's beside being a college area, because Loyola is there and LSU and Tulane. I think it just because of the jazz and the food and all the other cultural activities.
It's already a touristy spot, but on top of Tulane graduation, It was just really packed.
It was packed.
And it was really hot. So the actual graduation ceremony, we were sweating. We had to get there 2 hours before the graduates because we needed to get seats in the stadium,
which was interesting because we did sit on the seats where are regular seats, but if we were smarter, which we didn't realize, we would have sat on the visitors side.
There was a shady side, and we took the sunny side.
And we took the sunny side because that's where all the regular seats are. The other side is benches, which is usually the visiting team when you play football or whatever team sport they're playing in the arena. So the people in the shade were having a lovely afternoon. Mm-hmm. We were roasting. We didn't know what to do. We had the program over our face, over our head. It was a hot mess, literally.
Yeah, we did have a lot of funny, crazy moments over our trip.
We did. We had a lot of interesting things. The food was delicious, though. I can honestly say I loved it. My favorite dinner was our first night there. We had a small little restaurant on Magazine Street that
it was called Lillette, which we really liked, but somebody cursed Grandma out.
I don't know why, because I was looking at the table and they made some very inappropriate comment and we couldn't figure the whole thing out. It didn't matter. It didn't spoil our night. We were just a little bit taken back.
There were multiple times throughout.
I think the man might have had too much to drink and should have just been quiet, but that's beside the point.
But there were also multiple times throughout the weekend we were just shocked, did they just really say that to me? Well,
I don't think that they really like New Yorkers. I think they knew where we were from. We were in a restaurant one night, another restaurant, that the waiter said, "Oh, New Yorkers don't like anything except New York." I mean, he was a little bit
not at all
negative.
What he said.
I know.
He said I could never live in New York.
Oh, right. All right. That's the same thing. But you know what? That's his opinion. We can't live anywhere else except for Palm Beach.
Yeah.
So what's our problem? But anyway, it was a great weekend. The graduation speaker was John Meacham, who wrote several biographies on historical people such as Andrew Jackson and Lincoln and whatever. I liked him a lot. Now, there was another side that didn't love him so much. They thought he didn't really say anything uplifting to the class of 2024. But
I thought it was good.
You liked it. I liked it too. I liked it as well.
I don't think he said anything controversial. There was nothing to get mad at.
Well, I just don't think he probably could have gone a little more in depth on what he was talking about, which was hope for the next class for 2024. But what came across from all the speakers, which is really true, is this is a class that started during COVID. That, don't forget, nobody had graduations from high school. So this was the first graduation that these seniors really will ever have, except they'll go to those who go to graduate school naturally. But it was really a very exciting day for all these.
It was
young
also
people.
funny because the speaker, he was, saying things and the students would cheer a little bit, like, right. Oh, in the next phase of life, make sure to XYZ, and they would cheer, like, we're so proud of you, and they would cheer. But then they were saying the movies that were
just starting out.
No, the movies that came out the year that these kids were born.
Right.
So they were like Finding Nemo, and then you've never heard the kids clap so loud over they were like Jackass 3, and the kids were like, yeah. But for everything else, they didn't make a sound. So that was funny too.
It was fun. And I love the fact at the end, they had all the girls, it's evidently a tradition at Tulane, that they decorate umbrellas.
Yeah.
So that at the end, when they were playing music and jazz from the stage, the kids were twirling, all the girls were twirling the umbrellas. So it looked like a sea of umbrellas. It was very pretty.
It was very festive.
Yeah.
compared to Cornell. I feel like at
yeah.
Cornell, we were sitting in the rain. It was some person droning on like a da 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 da, and here's with honors, you graduate, whatever. And then we like left. Like it wasn't a party.
It wasn't a party. This
Yeah.
was a party, which ended with fireworks, so it was great fun. Anyway, the weekend was great. We enjoyed it. It'll be my last time probably for a long time before I go back to New Orleans. I've been there several times in the last 4 years, and I really
Because you like
enjoyed
the
it.
gambling too.
Well, I did like the gambling. We broke even, which is like winning. But I like the whole city. I mean, the city's got a lot to offer for people to go down. I mean, we were not there during jazz time, but the music
What do
pervades.
you mean during jazz time?
Well,
Like
they have a jazz festival there.
Yeah, well, there
in
yeah,
May. the
that's a
beginning of
specific
May.
like festival
Yes,
on like
exactly.
a campgrounds.
They always
have jazz.
They always have jazz,
Yeah.
but they, then they have big bands that play and come from all over the world. So I mean, it's a fun place to be. Glad we got our flights were wonderful. We had 2 flights that were left on time and came back to our destination, our final destination on time, which is very unusual. But I must say, what I was fascinated was the crowds that are now in the airports. I mean, this isn't a holiday time.
It was Sunday leaving New Orleans
Yeah,
of
but
a graduation weekend.
Yeah, but I mean, graduation is only a couple of thousand people. Those were not all people from New Orleans. I think people are just traveling again, and I think that's what a lot of the commentators were saying that I've heard recently on TV, that this will be the busiest summer in 20 years of travelers.
Wow.
More air
I mean,
travel.
I feel like
more-
the airport's always busy recently.
Yeah,
like,
well, I don't know if it's less planes or people just broke out of their cocoons and are looking for adventures again, which is
Yeah.
I probably more like it.
I don't know.
So, I mean, you've been busy. You were in St. Bart's. Now you're going to end up going to Vail. I mean,
In a month or so
Yeah.
for a wedding. But
So-
I feel like every time I'm on a date or talking to people catching up, they're like, so what are your travel plans for this summer? Like
Right.
you're expected to say, I have a trip to
something
Europe
exciting.
or I have whatever. And I'm like, I don't really
well,
have.
you're going out west.
Okay,
So
I
that's
have
a
one
great
trip for a wedding.
Well,
but
that's
like
fun. You don't have
these
to tell
people,
anybody that's a wedding. You just say you're going out west.
I don't know.
You're gonna
I just feel like
hike and-
everyone's always like, here are my summer travel plans, and they have like 5 big trips planned.
Oh, all right. Well, I that's good. I like that. But meanwhile, we're not doing that this summer. But you never know what comes up. You might end up changing your mind and packing your wheelie and going. That's always a possibility.
Probably not packing a wheelie, probably checking a bag.
Oh, that
but,
was
like,
the other
yeah.
thing. I must honestly say, all of us ended up checking bags for this trip, which was so unnecessary since we didn't even need what would have been in a wheelie to go down to New Orleans. It's a very casual city. The only thing is you have to change a few times because it is very, very hot. But one pair of pants and 3 shirts could really suffice for a weekend. No one gets dressed really. Even in the nicest places, they really don't get dressed up.
Yeah, I definitely overpacked. What was your college graduation like?
My college graduation was just very formal. I ended up I started at Syracuse University, but I ended up in a small girls' school. So it was a very sedate graduation. I don't even remember who the speaker was, to be very truthful. Probably.
Have they always done graduation speakers, or is that like a newer?
No, I think they always had somebody that would uplift the class.
Okay.
I think that's a traditional thing.
Yeah.
Some are better than others. Some have a bias that they want to talk about, but I really love when it's an author and they talk about their works or whatever.
Then
it's-
did you have like dinner after? You don't remember?
I don't really, Kimberly, that was over 60 years ago.
Do you remember your high school graduation?
Well, that was in a parking lot.
Oh.
I went to a suburban school where most of the activity took place on the field. So I'm sure we were on the field for graduation and then did something in the gym.
Yeah.
We didn't do very much, but we did go. I must say, high school graduation, everybody in those days, first of all, we all drove. We all went to Jones Beach, which is a wonderful public beach in Long Island, actually between Brooklyn. It's right really off between Brooklyn and Long Island. And everybody would go and we'd spend the night and we'd all sleep on the beach. And we had a great
legal?
time. Yeah.
To
we
sleep
didn't
on
do
a
anything
beach?
illegal.
No, I just don't know if you can squat on
Well,
the beach.
we did. I
Okay.
think in 1959 nobody thought we were
Yeah,
squatting.
maybe.
In 1963 we were basically it was fine. But 59 when I graduated high school, we didn't think of things that way, and we had a great time. And then I think we came back and had lunch at somebody's house. I don't even remember where it was, but I remember we all gathered. And but we had a wonderful small high school, so when you have a class of under 100, you can do a lot of things that you really can't do when you have a large graduating class.
I guess so.
Well, you had a small class as
Yeah,
well.
my high school class was about 120 people.
Yeah, that's what mine was.
But we didn't do, for prom, we had like after prom where we all went and stayed at someone's house. But for graduation, we didn't do anything like that. It was just the ceremony at Lincoln Center. And then we went off and did our, I don't even
Your
think
own
I,
thing,
did I
family
go to a
things.
graduation party?
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. But I know we ate en famille after graduation.
I think I might have hosted it at our apartment, and it was just like a chill
Small group.
thing. That was the one time I think mom and dad let me have a party. If I'm thinking of graduation, I think I am.
Right.
And we just had like a party at our apartment. And of course, mom and dad had to come out. Like, why do the parents have to come out?
Well, because it's in their home. What are they supposed to do? Lock
Stay in
themselves
their
the
room.
bedroom?
If you're allowing your kids to have people over, like, don't be awkward. Just like pretend you're not
I
home.
don't think it's awkward. I think it's
Kids don't
actually
like
hospitable to
that.
come out. Well, that's too bad. If the kids are no longer kids. I mean, that's the one thing that comes with a college graduation. You're 22 years old for the most part. You're no longer children. You're now going into the workforce. You're becoming you're young adults. So I think parents can come out and say congratulations.
Yeah, I think now if I had a party at my parents' house, for instance, like I know that my parents
Well.
would come out and say hi and
Right.
it's fine. It's just when you're in high school and you don't want,
You're self-conscious.
you're self-conscious, you don't want them to
Okay.
see you drinking. You don't want, they're going to ask a
Well, they
million
shouldn't
questions.
be drinking. Some of them are illegal,
Okay.
so they shouldn't be drinking.
Or they're like, oh, who is that person you were talking to? It's like, I don't want to explain the 2-minute conversation I had with somebody.
Okay. All right.
So
All right. Well, graduation time is a wonderful time of the year. So pretty soon we're going to have Memorial Day coming up, and all those. The summer starts, and the beginning of summer is always. Hopefully, our weather in the Northeast will get warmer on the weekends. We always seem to have nice weeks, but the weekends, as soon as Friday comes, it starts to rain. So I'm hoping this summer won't be a repeat of last summer.
Yeah, well-
which I don't think we had one nice Saturday.
unfortunately, but this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, we're planning on being in the Hamptons and it looks sunny.
No, only till through Sunday. Sunday,
Yeah.
I think it's going to start to rain. We're going to get a couple of nice days, which is good, but not warm. What happens it's a 10-degree different from Manhattan to the island at this time of the year. And so really, even though it's going to be in the mid 70s in New York, it won't be that warm out out east. But it'll be it's always fun to see the flowers in the spring, and it's a nice start of the summer vacations.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this summer.
Any plans for this weekend? Any fun things?
I'm going to a Shabbat dinner on Friday.
Okay, that's nice.
Might go to Wolfer one day, the vineyard.
All right.
But yeah, people are around.
Yeah.
Been texting me, so we'll see
Okay, fun.
what comes about.
Okay.
What about you?
We're just eating with a couple each night, and we're just going to go to the usual restaurants we normally go to. Nothing special, no parties, no nothing. But it's nice to be in a different location. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I think this is also the start of when people might extend invitations to friends to come out to your parents' house if you don't have your own houses out either in wherever you are for the
if
summer.
if you're lucky enough for your family to have a second
House
home
somewhere. And what do you do if you're not engaged and you're just beginning to date someone?
Obviously not. To me, I'm like, you can bring your boyfriend to stay with your parents, but
boyfriend
what
is
if it's like
something.
pre-boyfriend?
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think at a certain age, I think it's all right to go as a friend, but then how do you do the accommodations?
Yeah,
Are you sleeping? Are you having sleepovers if you haven't done
No,
it?
if you're inviting, depends obviously how old you are, but
Right.
if you're
well,
inviting,
we're talking about mid-20s to 30s.
Okay, so like
we're not
me.
talking about teenagers.
So me,
Right.
like if I was inviting someone over, I don't think I would, just because one, I think it's weird to invite someone I'm dating to stay with me and then say like,
You have to have your own
you have to
room.
have your own room.
Yeah.
I'm 29 almost.
Right.
Like that's.
I think once you're inviting somebody over, it's a thing that you're sharing a
but
room.
it's not down to what I would want. It's down to my parents feeling comfortable with that because it's their home, and hopefully at this point they would be. But it's also kind of like, are you really putting someone you're not official with in the circumstance of meet my whole
Putting too much
family,
pressure.
stay with my family.
Well, it depends on the young person.
But at that
whether
point, like, you're
some
dating.
girls, well, I think it has to be a little more than dating.
like you're
Let's put it-
I'm saying
it's
like
gotta
at
be
that
one
point
step
you're
past the third date.
well, of course. Like I just feel like it's weird to bring someone if your family is home that
Into the
weekend
mix.
into the mix.
You
If you're
might be
not
right.
planning on being boyfriend and girlfriend,
Right.
like I know plenty of people who have had people come and stay the weekend with them with their parents, and I bet like the next month or so they would end up being exclusive. I just think if
Yeah, it can't
before
be a
who-
first or
what do you-
second date.
of course not, but I don't even think it could be a 10th date if you're not official. Like, what are you going to say to your parents? This is someone I'm like having sex with. This is someone I've gone on dates with. It's weird.
I don't know if you have to answer when you're 28 or 29 to your parents about that, but of course it
My
is their
parent-
home.
are you kidding?
It is their home.
They'd
Well,
be
it
like,
depends
"Who is
on the
this?"
Parents. Some people. Well, your
My mom would be
parents
like, "Who the
say
heck
that.
is this?"
Your parents would say that, but a lot of parents are very loosey goosey. So there's no right or wrong on this because you are all adults. So you figure out your own situation.
Yeah, I think
don't
you have
bring them
to-
to grandma's. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I feel like grandparents expect it to be
Right.
something a little
a
more.
little more serious.
Unless it's like you're having dinner or something, but like staying the weekend, staying in your home.
And it also is a little difficult on everybody. So you want everybody to be at ease.
Well, there's no more sugarcoating. Like your parents are going to be in their own skin. They're going to be yelling at each other if they yell at each other, or they're
exactly.
going to be in their underwear if they usually sit in their underwear. So you have to be
I'm
prepared.
glad nobody would come over when I was dating. We never had this situation because everybody in our house used to come down in their underwear. I had two brothers that nobody wore long pants, including my father, sometimes at the dinner table in the summer. They came down with a T-shirt and boxers on.
Even with friends, sometimes I feel awkward when I have girlfriends stay the weekend in the Hamptons because I'm like, I mean, my dad, if he knows I have house guests, he's not going to come in just
No,
his
he wears
underwear.
jogging
But
shorts.
still, I'm just like, fix your hair. It's embarrassing.
Well, you can't be embarrassed. That's your parents. Okay.
I guess.
Well,
yeah,
I think that sums up our issues for the weekend.
Do you
I
have any headlines?
The headlines are, well, you know what happened in Iran. They killed off, the helicopter fell with the butcher of Baghdad. So it's really no loss. I'm not too upset about his dying. I don't wish it on anybody, but he was not a very nice person. So it'll be interesting to see who the Ayatollah replaces these terrible guys with. None of them are very nice, so I'm not expecting a big change in policies. But the world is sort of a mess, and nobody's gotten a grip on it. We don't know what's happening in our presidential, divide is still crazy. So they're all things to look out for and pay attention to. But I'm not going to worry about it over the summer. I think
Summer vacation.
Summer. I'm off my thinking cap. I think by the end of the middle of October, we're going to have to really seriously think about things.
Yeah, when election time comes.
Comes closer.
My entertainment headline is Bridgerton next season came out in the last few days, and I already finished it. Well, it's in two
that's
parts.
Bad. Don't be a
parts.
spoiler now. Don't tell anybody.
It's in two parts, so I watched the first 4 episodes, which is part 1. I like it. I don't like it as much as the first.
Well, that always
Ones.
happens. Oh, the first
It's still
one is
really
always the
good. It's
best,
still
but
my
it's
favorite
still
show.
fun.
Yeah.
It's still fun.
It's so fun. The romance is so, they really build up to it, which
All right,
is
so that's
good.
great. I'm going to watch it over the weekend.
Yeah.
Something for me to watch.
Thank you guys all for listening. Please stay updated on everything we're doing and follow us on social media. Excuse my grandma.
And stay safe. Drive carefully. Be careful. No drinking and driving, please, guys.
Everyone have a good weekend.
Bye.